when there's a 30% rate of attempting or dying by suicide for kids that have ADHD, it really staggering. And that we're going to have arrangements with them to work with these kids.
Yeah, that's great.
The coolest part about this, though, is that we're building a communication portal that will house all of the care. The caregivers will have access to it. They'll document the care that they give to the child, and they'll identify, will follow a red light, yellow light, green light system. If it's green, everything's going good for the child. There's no issues. And if it's yellow, there might be some issues there. Sometimes tutors don't always work right, or they might not be getting a grade yet. Things haven't taken place yet. But if it's red, notifications will come out that'll trigger, hey, they're being bullied. They're either depressed. We got to do something else. So we believe that's critical in this program, that we highlight these issues and we address them.
Hi, it's Kate from ADHDkidscanthrive.com. Before we start, I want to address the fact that I know how overwhelming it can feel to parent a child with ADHD. The questions, the challenges, the desires to give your child the best possible chance to thrive is a lot to carry for parents. That's why I want to share my journey with you through my book, How We Roll, A Parent's Journey on Raising a Child with ADHD. I've had the privilege of helping many parents like you navigate the journey of raising a child with ADHD. We've worked together to create brighter paths. All my experiences, practical tips, heartfelt insights are narrowed down into this book. To help you get started, I've made the first 3 chapters of the book available to you for free. I've been where you are, so let's walk this path together. Download these chapters and take the first step toward a brighter journey for you and your child. You can check out through the link in the show notes below. Hi, it's Kate Brownfield from ADHDkidscanthrive.com. Thank you for being here and thank you for all your support. I'm your host of the ADHD Kids Can Thrive podcast. I am also an ADHD parent coach, author, and parent. If you want to keep in touch and see what I'm up to, you can go to ADHDkidscanthrive.com. Okay, today I'm honored to be joined by Tony and Cassi, parents and founders of a nonprofit called Anthony's Road to Kindness.com. The foundation's goal is to help children and teenagers with ADHD maintain a positive outlook on life and to understand the value of living and enjoying each day. They want to help kids look forward to the next day and to their journey throughout their whole life. Today, they're going to share their insights and stories about raising a child with ADHD, and now tell us a little bit more about what their foundation is doing to help kids with ADHD and their families. And trust me, you're going to want to hear what they have to say, listen to their insights, their wisdom, and their goals for moving forward for other ADHD kids and their families. So please enjoy. Hi, it's Kate from ADHDkidscanthrive.com. Thank you. I'm here with Tony and Cassi, and I'm looking forward to talking to you today. You are the creators of Anthony's Way, The Road to Kindness.
Yes.
And you have created a nonprofit that kind of started from your own personal journey that has now led you to helping others who are raising children with ADHD. Right?
Right.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm really looking forward to speaking to you today and hearing more about your story. I always think it's a good idea to start from the beginning. So if you could just tell us a little bit about your own personal journey of raising a child with ADHD.
Okay. Well, 20 years ago when Anthony was first diagnosed with ADHD, we had no idea what it was, and we didn't know where to go or what to do. And the most help we could get was online, like on Chat with Chad, which they had a lot of great articles that you could read, but there's only so many articles that you read. There was nothing out there that was hands-on help besides a psychiatrist or a tutor. So that's pretty much why we started this, was to make like a roadmap for other parents so that we have our experts that are already vetted. And so when they start in our program, the first thing they get is a coach, an ADHD coach, and then we go from there, whatever their needs may be. And we have all the elements, which we'll talk about, to cover most of what these ADHD kids are going to need. And it is hands-on help, and it is for the family.
For us though, it was really a roller coaster. I think we didn't know how to deal with Anthony's impulsiveness and his hyperactivity. And we thank goodness that we had a wonderful second grade teacher who helped to guide us. She was great, and we were able to get him diagnosed. But he was, in case we could talk more about it, but he was a happy, happy boy, smiling all the time, really, really loved life, loved people. But we saw his happiness go down when he realized he couldn't learn like other kids because he was diagnosed with dysgraphia, learning challenges, severe ADHD.
Yep.
Which is very common with a lot of kids with ADHD, right? It's usually more than just one thing.
It always is more than one thing.
And he had challenges in comprehension and math and all of those. So it hit hard. I mean, it hit him hard. We hated to see him. He took a blow on his self-esteem, and that really impacted him.
Let's talk about his self-esteem a little bit, like how, so he was diagnosed when he was in second grade, right?
Second grade.
Yeah. And then did that help you once you got him diagnosed to kind of take some steps?
Oh, absolutely.
To be supportive of him?
Yeah, it did. Absolutely. From an early age, I knew there was something different about his behavior and about him because it wasn't the same as with his 3 older sisters. And so when he was in preschool, he was having trouble with his ABCs and his 1, 2, 3s. And I mentioned something about that, and they said, oh, he's just a boy, he'll catch up. And so I said, okay. So then he got into kindergarten, and the same thing was happening. And the teacher said, oh, he's just a boy, he'll catch up. First grade was not fun. Second grade, his teacher called us, and she said, I need for you to come in. I need to talk to you about something. And so we're like, oh boy, can't wait to hear what this is.
A little bit worried because it was a private school. So.
Yeah. So we go in, and she hands us this piece of paper, and it's been crumpled up. You could tell it was crumpled. And she said, Anthony was working on this paper, and he crumpled it up and he threw it away. And when he wasn't watching, I went and got it so that I could see what was going on. And she handed it to us, and he'd drawn a big frowny face on the back of the paper and crossed it out and said, I hate me. And that's when we knew that it wasn't going to go away. He wasn't going to grow out of it. This was something that we really needed to bite the bullet and start taking care of.
And we did. We jumped right on it. So we got a diagnosis we got a pediatrician involved, we got a psychiatrist involved, all the key things that you need to do to get it diagnosed. And thank goodness for, when the medicine came up, the medicine discussion always comes up, right? So
yes,
and I was against the medicine side initially, and Casey believed in it, but
our pediatrician said, well, that's fine. You don't have to put him on medication, but I'll just tell you that when he's 10, 11, 12, he'll start wanting to self-medicate, and then you're really going to have problems. So, it's up to you, but I do need to warn you that probably will happen.
So we found a psychiatrist who was just worked with kids with ADHD and loved Anthony.
Okay, so let me ask you, how did you two get on the same page about that? Because that's a big...
I quickly got adjusted. It took me a little time because self-medication has never been in something that we've done. And so when we heard that, we got worried. And, before you know it, he's 7, 8 years old. He'll be 13, 14.
Right.
And he was impulsive. So part of the challenge was the biggest challenge for us was his impulsiveness. He never thought about the circumstances. He just, I think you interviewed Ned Hallowell a little bit ago.
Yeah.
He uses this example, and it's so true for Anthony. He has a race car brain with bicycle brakes. And that was Anthony. He always was going, and he didn't know when to stop. So when the pediatrician told us that, it's kind of hit home for us, and the psychiatrist was able to prescribe. Took a little while to get it adjusted the right way. Mm-hmm. We did, though. We got it adjusted, and he didn't feel bad about himself, but as he played sports and stuff, we would take him off the medication so that he could be himself. And one thing we didn't mention is that he started getting bullied. Because he was different, smaller, he started getting bullied. And so we were in the midst of, Casey was traveling, driving the kids all over, and I was traveling 100% of the time. So what happened is we looked at each other. We said, we got to make a couple changes here. So I changed jobs to be home more. And I got him into martial arts. And I have to tell you, that was life-changing for him and for me. And we got our younger daughter in too. And she's diagnosed with ADHD too. At some point, as she got older, she got diagnosed. But he took onto that. He grabbed onto it, embraced it. and he fell in love with it. And he was so good. By 12, he was a black belt in martial arts.
Wow.
And that gave him the confidence. And then we got him into public school, which he got all the reading comprehension and the math, and he caught up. We got him tutors, and he was getting you could see the smile coming back on the boy that, that we lost there for a little bit. And, but he was still getting bullied. So he took a stand, and then he started watching over all the other kids that were being bullied.
Oh, yeah.
And that's where
Up for them.
that's where his kindness theme comes from. He just cared so much. He didn't want anybody else to get picked on. He wanted everybody to be happy, and he became a little social coordinator then, that he formed a little group of friends, and he'd coordinate, events. And when he told him about the snowboarding thing, which is the coolest thing for us. I mean, he loved to be out in the snow. He loved the snow.
Okay.
Yeah, so he started ski club when he was in the 6th grade, I think, and he loved it, but he had trouble finding, nobody wanted to sit with him on the bus. So he was always sitting by himself. So he got all of his friends who were not interested in snowboarding or skiing to join ski club and to start, so he would have somebody to sit with.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
And they still do it to this day.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was life changing for him, because he saw that he could have friends that care about him too, because, initially friends would make on they cared, but then they bully him anyway. So, but that didn't bother him. He was resilient. He would still invite them to birthday parties. He just wanted to have people around.
Yeah, I love
And
people.
about people. And so that was really important.
Feels like a little salesperson in a way, and a very
Well, he
sensitive.
was.
For us, he was.
Yes, he got me a lot.
He got enough more than me.
A lot of times.
But the best part is that, and what we want to give these kids now, is we found his passions, martial arts being one of them, but singing was another one. And he wouldn't sing outside of singing with his mom. But he had a great voice. And so he came to me he's probably 14 at this time, when Casey was turning 50. He said, "Dad, I want to sing a song for Mom." And I said, "What do you want to do? Where do you want to go?" I said, I'll get a studio. You think about what song." So we went to the studio, and he sings Bruno Mars' song, "Just the Way You Are."
Oh, yeah, very sweet.
Played it.
Now I'm going to start crying.
We played it at Casey's birthday party, and his mom was his buddy. I was his playful time, but his mom, he'd go to her for all the stuff. So, and then we all got close. He got, his sisters started coming around, because he was always in their face.
You heard them crazy.
He was hyperactive. He was always bothering them when they're trying to do their schoolwork or whatever. And they loved him, though. They loved him to death. And it never talked about his differences, or that he was, he might not have been, an A student or anything. They just wanted him to be around them, and he wanted to be around them. So it was a very loving family. And as we progressed through, he started advocating for himself in school too, which was really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Casey taught him all the right things to do, and he'd advocate. There was a few math teachers who gave him a problem, and he'd stick up for him, and he'd go right at them. And we had to take him out of class once or twice, because the math teachers would embarrass him and stuff. So we had a 504 for him, just like I feel like 504's IEPs, we got a 504. But you were the administrator of that.
I was his educational advocate pretty much for that, until he started advocating for himself. But instead of shying away from it, I would contact the teachers ahead of time and say, "This is Anthony." I would introduce him to them before they even had him in class. He has this 504, and just tell them a little bit about him and about what they probably could expect from him in class. And they were very thankful for that. They appreciated the heads up, and it helped him a lot.
Yeah, we had a meeting with the teachers every year, though. We made sure we went in. We sat down with all the teachers, or at least the counselors, and talked with them almost every year, except senior year. But so that was helpful. All those things were helpful. I talked about the tutor that we found for Miss Sue. Talking about Miss Sue.
What about Miss Sue?
So Miss Sue was.
There's a lot of stories. I'm sorry.
Miss Sue became like she was a retired teacher, math and English, and she had ADHD too, which she knew how to deal with Anthony.
Okay, so she took him on. She said, "I know how to help him or support him through school."
and she did. She helped him
Yeah, that's
right
great.
through senior year. She helped him, and it was a blessing for us. And when he started getting, he always wanted to do his own work.
A lot of times he would get stuck, and I would, it'd be getting really late at night, and I'm like, let me just help you with this so we can get this done. And he's like, no, this is my work, and I'll get the grade for my work. I don't want to get a grade for your work. So, he was very forceful about getting the grade that he could get, not the grade that I could get.
Yeah. So he's finding his independence.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was. And then we got him in. He started loving cars. He always loved the Daytona 500s and so senior year, then junior year going to senior year, he came to me and he said, Dad, how about if we did a project together? He said, I love cars. And he thought that's what he might want to major in when he graduated. So I said, okay, well, let's find a car. So we looked and we found an old 1989 red BMW that we refurbished together. And we got it all the way to the point where it was going to get painted so he could use it for prom, and then we lost him. So
do you want to talk about what happened? How you lost him? Just a very short.
Yeah, it was. I'll tell you, he was at a high point. Okay, he was at a high point. He was very confident. He felt very confident in what he was doing. We were talking about the next cars we were gonna do together, and he had even scheduled an appointment with. We had got him an academic advisor to help him with school, get him through the SATs and all that good stuff. And he had set up an appointment the next morning, but he was in a relationship, and we wanted to give him some room. We
weren't familiar with this young lady, so we were trying to give him room because he was going to college, and we weren't going to be able to follow him to college. So we were trying to give him a little bit of latitude. And go ahead.
And so something must have happened. We won't know all the things that happened, but something happened that night, and we later found out that she had some other family issues and stuff that he was trying to save her and help her get through. But we believe there was some relationship issue there, and instead of pausing and coming down and talk with us, he took his life. And we don't know what happened because we worked out that night. He was happy, came down, he kissed us like he normally would, and we believe that it was an impulsive act on his part. He just wasn't thinking about what he was doing, and
he wasn't depressed. He wasn't sad.
It was no signs. No signs.
Wasn't any of that going on at the time. He was at the top of his game. He had everything in front of him.
And the sad part is that if it wasn't for all the kids that came to the viewing, we don't know how we would have made it through, because they came up and they were consoling us because we were consoling them, because they were telling us stories about how all the things that he helped them with and what he did for them. Over 200, 300 kids came to his viewing.
Wow.
Shared stories with us.
And all of the funny things that he did, because he was a comedian as well.
And so we won't, until we see him again, we won't know what happened and why.
Yeah.
But we miss him every day. It's really what drives us now.
Yeah. It's definitely transformed your lives for sure as well. And now has led you down a new mission in life.
Yeah.
Right?
It has. And Casey started telling me about it, but we don't do anything. I built a lot of businesses. That was part of my career. So we took time. We needed to make sure we were okay and our 3 daughters were okay, because it took about 4 years to make sure everybody was okay. The girls all got married, and that was really a blessing. So they all got married and found the right spouses, and we were very happy for all of them. And we looked at each other and we said, we were not. He came to me and said, because we made a vow at his viewing and funeral that we were going to help kids, no matter what. We weren't sure what we were going to do, but we needed to help kids, and we love kids. Kids are so special. There's nothing more important than our kids. Yeah. So we then stepped out and said, okay, what do we want to do? And so very purposefully, I started talking to all the people. Started talking to David Guywork, who heads up the ADD Coach Academy. Started talking to Jeff Copper, all the leaders in this space that I didn't know before, Carolyn McGuire and Dr. Ned Hallowell. And I started building a we started building a roadmap. We wanted something seamless for parents that they can call us. But if you look at the stats are really staggering. 7 million kids have ADHD. And there's not a lot of families that can really afford the care that we gave to our son. And so we said, okay, we want to set this up in 2 ways. Number one was until we raise enough funds where we could cover the cost of care, we want to do a referral program. So far in 15 months, we've been able to help 20 families. They call us up. I do an intake session. We track out what they need. If they need a coach, we go to David Skyworks' team and Carol McGuire, and they identify a coach. If they need a tutor, we go to the tutoring organization. So what I did and what we did along this path is we identified leaders and experts, coaches. Boom, number one, they're the quarterback. They are really the quarterback. You know, they know how to behave, the behaviors work. They know how to deal with kids that have ADHD. And we wanted to stay in the children's space from children 6 to 17.
Okay.
That's our range because that's the shaping time for them. If we can get them shaped right, like we did, you know, like the things we gave to Anthony, then we believe that that'll be valuable and to help them find their passions and help them to thrive.
We want to get them before their self-esteem goes in the toilet, like Anthony's did, because it starts very early. You know, they start getting into trouble, or they're troublemakers, or you know, they're angry or they're frustrated or whatever, and they start getting a bad name, and then the self-esteem just goes right down. So that's why we want to start them as early as we can, as early as they are diagnosed. We'd like to start, you know, them in our program.
So our vision is to reshape the landscape for kids with ADHD. Take a look, step back, and look at the landscape and say, okay, what do we need to give these kids so that they can really thrive and succeed, find their passions? But we want to build in kindness in the whole process. So we have our hashtags are choose kindness for ADHD, and then kindness always wins because of Anthony's kind way. That's why we call it Anthony's Way, the road to kindness, because of the kindness that he brought to everybody that came to him. You know, everybody he touched, he brought kindness to. So then we said, okay, we looked around who was trying to do this in this space, and we said we really want to be a hands-on organization. We don't want to just give literature out. So we brought a coach organization on. We brought an educational advocacy organization on to work with the schools. We brought a tutoring organization on that have retired teachers, math and English.
Oh, great.
Languages. And then we brought on a nutritionist because nutrition is so important. My background is also, we had, with the martial arts, we had a gym that Anthony and our youngest daughter, we all worked together. We taught martial arts. So we believe exercise and fitness is critical. I'll take care of that. But then social skills, as the kids hit 13, we said, what do they need? And Dale Carnegie is the organization that I used when I was out there. And they have, it just so happens that in North Carolina here, the Raleigh leader partner, he has ADHD, loves kids.
Okay.
I
was trained on Dale Carnegie.
Oh, yeah.
Outstanding. Social skills wise,
Yeah.
he put a program together. It was really cool for us. Be the kind of person others want to know.
Oh, that's great.
And that's what
So you can get that program through.
That program is through our nonprofit, but you have to be in the school system here in right now in North Carolina.
Okay, got it.
We want to take that to the whole country though. That's his vision. But he's going to do one-on-one classes, one-on-one sessions with these kids that help them with social skills.
Yeah, that's great.
Media is brutal. I mean, gaming and all the other things, you know, it's the addiction that comes to all of that for these kids. And so when
I just ask a question on Anthony's age? I was trying, like, he was before social media and video games, so a little bit of.
No.
He did gaming.
Okay. I didn't know.
No, he was in all of he was right at the
beginning.
When it was getting really bad. You know, where the kids are staying up all night on their telephones because they're afraid they're going to miss something, you know, that somebody's doing or saying or whatever. We weren't the parents that you know, took the phones away from him at bedtime, which we probably should have, because he was staying up all night. And then the next day, you know, he's tired. And, you know, had he not had his telephone that night, he probably would still be here.
So the social skills is really important for these kids. We want to give them that that engagement early on at 13, from 13 to 17, the Dale Carnegie organization has outlined programs for these kids up to 17. So that they'll get that exposure. And then we brought on an academic advisory group to help them with SATs, because SATs, when we gave Anthony, when he looked at the SATs, he said, Mom and Dad,
Like, I'm never going to go to college.
crazy.
This is how it is. I'm never going.
So, and then that academic advisory group also looks at what they love to do, tries to hone in on what they like so that they pick the right school, the supportive school. So Anthony was all set to go to Northwood University to study automotive marketing and management. That's what his love was, cars. He wanted to work on cars. He wanted to have a dealership, and he had visions of that. And that's so that's our team. That's 7, 8 caregivers to work with these kids. Now, obviously, younger kids won't get Dale Carnegie and some of his other exposures, academic advisors, but they'll still get the nutritionist, they'll get a coach, they'll get the educational advocacy, they'll get extracurricular tutors.
Okay, and is this just in North Carolina, or can anybody
The referral program is anywhere. We've helped Canada everywhere. So,
Right.
But we're doing a pilot. We're taking 2 younger kids on next year. Personally, we're sponsoring 2 younger kids between 6 to 10, and then we're working up to a pilot of helping 20 teenagers, 13 to 17. We want to get. Obviously, we have to scale up. So we've raised money so far. We got some nice backing and momentum going. We've been doing this only 15 months. So we want to get that research documented. That we know, you and I both know individually all of those components work, right?
Yes.
Give them coaches, give them tutors. No one out there has put it together. No for-profit or nonprofit has all of this together and have, as Casey said, we have the roadmap and we have the seamless approach. We have the top experts. That's what we spend time on building to help these kids. They know they know what's coming. They know they're going to help 2 young kids. They know they're going to work with 20 teenagers. And they're all ready. Our team is ready, gung-ho to do it. Now, they're all independent contractors. They're all independent. They don't work for us. They work independently, but we're going to have arrangements with them to work with these kids.
Yeah, that's great.
The coolest part about this, though, is that we're building a communication portal that will house all of the care. The caregivers will have access to it. They'll document the care that they give to the child, and they'll identify, will follow a red light, yellow light, green light system. If it's green, everything's going good for the child. There's no issues. And if it's yellow, there might be some issues. The tutor there might be, sometimes tutors don't always work right, or they might not be getting a grade yet. Things haven't taken place yet. But if it's red, notifications will come out that'll trigger, hey, they're being bullied. They're either depressed. We got to do something else. So we believe that's critical in in the program, that we highlight these issues and we address them. Not every issue will come up, but at the end of the day, if we could help, when there's a 30% rate of attempting or dying by suicide for kids that have ADHD, it's really staggering. And that
is staggering. That's a third.
That's a third. And that's what when we put this together, Casey and I said, that's what we got to go after. We got to solve this, and these kids are too special to have those issues. And if we bring the right people to bear, we got to start somewhere. We'd want to help so many kids, but and you look at that percentage, there's 90% of the kids that are in that 7 million can't afford the care. Families can't afford the care.
Yeah. And it's challenging for them, right? Parents don't know what steps to take.
They don't know.
So we want to make it easy, but it's $20,000 per child per year. And so we have to raise some funds to get to that point.
Yep. Okay. And are you doing like walks and that kind of thing?
So here's what's really cool is we have two wonderful events coming up. Dr. Ned Allowell and David Guywork are going to do a live donation event for us.
Okay.
February 13th, Anthony's birthday. They're going to do a live donation event right before Valentine's Day and talk about what drives, what strategies, what tools parents and families could use. So that's really powerful stuff. These are 2 of the top voices and experts. And I don't know if you know David Guywork, but he's outstanding. And what he's done with training coaches, et cetera, across the U.S., 6, 7 continents is pretty amazing. So,
yeah, that's great. Okay, now I'm going to put that link like in the show notes. So
yeah, I will send you the link for that. But then, And the cool part of, last year we did a walk. First year we did a walk, a mile for kindness and ADHD.
Nationwide.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah. So we want participants. We hope people hear your program, hear the podcast, and they get involved. We're going to have a walk site. They can register. We thought it'd be cool to do it in teams, so up to 10 people. But if they have more, they can join up, and they can walk up. We can walk a mile anywhere. You walk anywhere you want. So, but we'll have 2 locations. Since we here in North Carolina, we're going to have one at Hoggard Football Stadium, and we'll have an event there. We'll have a DJ, and it'll be a fun event. And then we're having one other community walk up in Pennsylvania, in Hummelstown, where we spent 35 years of our life.
Okay.
There. And, but we want more community walks. If people want to set community walks up, it's great. The idea, though, is to get schools involved. Last year we had about 7 or 8. This year we hope to double, triple that number and get as many schools walking, doing kind act. And this is all about doing something kind. It's over Random Acts of Kindness Week. So we want the people we want everybody to do something nice in the community and then share that. What did you do? Send us a note, send us pictures. And the kids too. I mean, if the kids, that's where our kindness vision comes. Change kindness, take it to a whole new level.
So should people go to their schools to initiate this, or
they can? Yeah,
they can just start.
Anybody here, if they have somebody in school, they can go to school where their son or daughter goes. It doesn't matter, elementary, middle, or high school. They can initiate it. They can sign up through the website we're going to have set up for the walk. There'll be a team setup and a school setup for the schools.
Okay.
And youth groups, church organizations, anybody. We want to make this. No one else is doing anything over Random Acts of Kindness. We want to.
I agree.
Drive this.
And listening to you, I think more and more children, I'll say up to the age of 18, right? There's a lot of sensitive souls right now in our world of kids, whether they've been diagnosed with ADHD or not, but they feel things very, very deeply, like your son Anthony did. And they're struggling, right? And I think their families don't know what to do either. So this is a great organization for kids and their families to get connected to get the wheel going in a more positive direction. I would ask you as we wrap up, what would be your words of wisdom for parents who have a sensitive kid who feel so deeply on so many levels? What is your words of wisdom for them?
Well, I think one of the things that I hear a lot is that the parents think that there's something that's going on, but they're not really sure. And so then they don't do anything. And I would like to say, follow your intuition. If you think that there's something that's not right, go find out, what it is or if there is anything, but don't just let the child go, until their self-esteem is even worse. Get them the help that they need from the beginning.
The other powerful thing that and more what I've been hearing, we've done a lot of special calls with people that call us. The parents aren't connected. Either the father or the mother doesn't think there's anything really wrong with their child.
Yeah,
we were connected, and I think that's what helped us to deal with some of the challenges we had with Anthony. You got to be connected. And there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with your child. They just think differently and they act differently, but they are beautiful and they're wonderful, and we have to give them the tools. So just saying there's nothing wrong with my child is not the answer. It will come out in the wrong ways later. And that's so important. We were connected at the hip. The only thing we didn't agree on maybe was the medicine stuff initially, but we were connected at the hip.
Yeah. And the other thing is one thing that I learned is that you cannot discipline the ADHD out of your child.
Yeah.
There's no amount of.
What do you mean by that?
Well, there's no, if their ADHD symptoms, if they're, unless it's dealt with, they're just punishing them doesn't take the ADHD away.
Because they've already beat themselves up. I mean, we talk about it all the time. Anthony would do something wrong, right? And he'd already have beaten himself up, but he knew what he did wrong. And then all of a sudden, how are we going to, son, we just want to give you a hug. It's okay.
Yeah.
Let's work through it. And, we understand this is how it's going to be, because that, like, we started this with it's a roller coaster ride. Things will be going great, then impulsiveness kicks in, something happens, and then we're back at the roller coaster again.
Yeah.
And that is something if you like steady state, it's not steady state. And
No.
that too from having kids that have
Yeah.
ADHD. I mean, it's not steady state, and you just got to go with the flow and, be as caring as you can. And
Be patient and be kind.
yes.
Yes. Wise words that aren't said enough, I think, in this
And they're
space
not
of ADHD.
Right. And it's not easy when you're in the midst of, an ADHD battle.
And the final thing is just give them a hug. I mean, because, we're huggers. Some parents aren't, some kids aren't, but they need the hug. That the warmest feeling is saying, hey, you'll be okay.
You're perfect just the way you are.
Yeah.
So we want to help as many kids as we can. We hope we get lots of support from everybody out there, because, the last thing to leave you with is that there's still people out there that don't think ADHD is really that bad. And what you're doing is helping to change that. What we're trying to do, talk to Ned Howell all day, we all believe that we have to attack it. We have to attack it in the right way. We have to get people to raise up and say, hey, this is on the same scale as all the other neurodivergent challenges that are out there for kids.
Yeah. It's a big deal.
And it really is. It really
It
is.
can destroy families,
Yes.
because it's not just the child with the ADHD, it's the whole family that is affected by it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you for sharing your story.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
You're welcome.
It's nice
We hope this helps families out there. And, please look us up at www.anthonysroadtokindness.com. And we'll have our links up there to go to our live event domain and then our walk domain. So please come and join us. We'd love to have you.